Hi everyone, so I'll be explaining you what crystallization is. So it is a method of separation which allows you to separate a soluble solid from its solvent. So the solid is going to be dissolved in the liquid, and the principle of crystallization is that we get rid of the liquid by either heating to dryness or by allowing it to evaporate naturally, so that the solid is left behind in the form of crystals. And because you have crystals that is formed, we call this crystallization. Now, there's different ways that we can do crystallization. One way is to drive off the liquid by evaporating to dryness. So you just heat the mixture under strong heat until all the liquid is gone. However, if the solid in question that we're trying to recover, if the solid is affected by heat, for example, sugar, if you heat sugar for a very long period of time on its own, sugar is going to decompose and it's going to give you carbon. So it gives you carbon plus water and carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide gas is going to go into the atmosphere. Water is going to be in the form of water vapor, and carbon is going to remain as a black residue. So this is why when you heat sugar, let's say you're doing caramel, if you heat the caramel for a long period of time, the caramel burns and turns black. So it's because the carbon is formed. So it means that the sugar has decomposed. So generally for solids that decompose on heating, we do not evaporate to dryness. So the best way to get a pure solid from such solution is either by natural evaporation or by the process of crystallization. So natural evaporation takes a long period of time, and this is much slower. Now, the more slow the crystallization process, the bigger the crystals. So natural evaporation is the slowest step. It's the slowest step, but it will also give you big crystals. However, crystallization, we're going to do some sort of heating, but it's going to be heating, but it's going to be controlled heating actually. But crystallization is going to be controlled heating. So here we're going to get smaller crystals as compared to natural evaporation. Now let's see the steps during crystallization. There's the first step, that is we're going to have our mixture. So we have the soluble solid in the liquid, and we're going to do some sort of heating. So this heating is going to be controlled because we're going to heat it until the volume of the liquid decreases to around 1/3. So we'll have 1/3 of the liquid that is left. Now, whatever is left is called a saturated solution. That 1/3 solution left is called a saturated solution. What is a saturated solution? Now, a saturated solution is a solution that contains a lot of crystals and very small amount of solute, which means that the crystal do not stay in a dissolved state anymore, and they will start to form the crystals. So one example, if you have a beaker of water, let's say you have 5 particles of water in there. So 5 water particles and 10 sugar particles. Now let's say that the solubility of the sugar is 1 sugar in 1 water. So each particle of water dissolves 1 particle of sugar. Let's say Okay, so it's 1:1. So if I have 5 particles of water but 10 particles of sugar, this is called a saturated solution, which means that only 5 of these 10 particles of sugar will stay dissolved. So 5 will dissolve. The 5 others, what will happen? They will start to form crystals. They will start to crystallize. So this is called a saturated solution, when you have too much of solute in a solution. So here, step 2, you have the saturated solution. You have the crystals that will start to appear. So step 2, we allow the solution to cool. The crystals will start to form from the saturated solution. The third step is we're going to filter the saturated solution. So we'll get rid of all the liquid and we'll have the crystal that will be collected on the filter paper. So once we filter the solution, you can press the crystals against 2 filter papers. So 1 filter paper on top, 1 at the bottom. You press them and you allow them to dry between sheets of filter paper. Now, depending on the question, this concerns IGCSE students. Depending on the question, sometimes they give you 3 marks or 4 marks for a question on crystallization. They will tell you describe the steps to crystallize a certain solid. So if you see 4 marks, you give these 4 steps. If you see 3 marks, you give step 1, 2, 3 and 4 will be as 1 step. So you just continue the sentence as it is. Okay, so these are the 4 steps during crystallization.